consider myself a person of integrity that tries to do the right thing always. Sometimes this even involves days of agonizing over decisions that affect other people, journaling, discussing with my husband or family about what is the right decision to take. My score for conscientiousness on psychometric tests tends to come out very high. So why is it that several times in my life have I been accused of being two-faced or manipulative when that was never ever my intention? This is something that a lot of autistic women face, so let's explore that today. Part of being autistic is feeling like people are constantly fundamentally misunderstanding who you are as a person. It is considered a communication impairment, but certainly it's an impairment when communicating with non-autistic or allistic people. As many autistic women are not diagnosed until adulthood or later in life, a lot of us come up with strategies to cope in the social world, and this is called masking. Masking is more than just smiling through social engagements that you don't particularly want to be at. Masking is not telling someone, "Oh, you look fine," when you think they look terrible. That's not what this is. It's not about being two-faced. Masking is a social survival skill that some autistic women are very good at. I can only assume that I'm good at it because after my diagnosis, a lot of people reached out to me and said things along the lines of, "Oh, I couldn't tell," as if I was supposed to be acting funny. My diagnosing psychologist said that probably most people wouldn't be able to tell. So I'm a bit of a heavy masker. And I have been my whole life. For me, the changing moment was when I had my son, or maybe even when I got pregnant. The energy required to mask completely overwhelmed the energy that I had left after I had taken care of a child. For some autistic people, masking can even be creating a whole persona that you are around certain people. This might even be an unconscious process, or a habit that's hard to break after years of practice. Essentially, it's a bit like observing the situation and then realizing who you need to be in order for people to like and accept you. For me personally, I think with most people I'm always masking on some level, some people more than others. For example, I probably masked way more in work environments than I ever would have done it in a social environment. But for me, once I get someone that I trust deeply, I tend to lose the mask. And the result is that these people don't drain my energy so much. Autistic people are known for their honesty and perhaps bluntness, but for me it's really impossible to be truly honest unless the person is in my absolute inner circle. And then of course they get way more honesty than they'd bargained for. And this is ultimately where the appearance of being two-faced comes from, because we struggle to stay afloat in the social world using all these coping mechanisms, and then when we find someone that we really trust, we can release it onto them. This is further complicated by the fact that autistic people are assumed to have black and white thinking, but a lot of autistic women actually say that they experience more shades of grey than anyone else, really, seeing things very deeply and from multiple perspectives at the same time. While this does have its benefits, this does mean that we are easily swayed, at least in appearance, by the opinions of those around us. So someone says something to me and I might agree with them, and then someone else says something which is contradictory, but I might also agree with them. This isn't always just a matter of people-pleasing, actually. This is what it's like seeing the world in Greyscale, where everything is hazy and open to interpretation rather than being absolute, especially when you're thinking on layers of morality or judgments. But from the outside, you are saying two contradictory things and you seem two-faced. This is especially problematic when you're perhaps talking about other people, because I personally can believe somebody to have both positive and negative attributes at the same time, and believe it or not, still want to be friends with them and still like them. The fact that I see somebody's negative attribute doesn't necessarily mean I think less of them. It's not a judgment. To me, it's a statement of fact. And another reason why we might seem two-faced is our desire to avoid confrontation. Not fully understanding social rules or norms means that if we think something is going to aggravate someone, we're more inclined to keep quiet about it. This isn't just about being a pushover or something. It's trying to work out how to behave in a situation that won't get you fully misunderstood. And sometimes there isn't really a right answer to that, so we've learned to shut up. Being misunderstood our whole lives is extremely alienating. And not all of us want to become alienated from people that we would like to remain friends with. So it's a difficult situation from autistic and the non-autistic point of view as well. But there are ways that I believe that you can help autistic people speak more honestly and with less anxiety about the process. The good news is, most autistic people tend to be quite honest when asked a direct question, maybe too honest sometimes. But there are ways that you can enable us to be more forthright with our opinions. Number 1, don't overload us with what you think before you've actually asked what we think. Listen to us. It might just take a little longer than you think because there's so much detail that we're thinking in. Number 2, make sure that you're actually giving the person an environment in which they can feel safe to tell you the truth, or feel safe to be their true self. Examples of things that are not a safe environment: group chats, any public settings, situations where you might be expected to give an immediate answer without having time to process it first. Examples of things that might make an autistic person feel more comfortable is one-on-one conversations, quiet, familiar home environments, that sort of thing. Number 3, be calm and unemotional if possible. You have to appreciate that autistic people can compartmentalize their emotions. I've done a previous video on alexithymia if you'd like to watch that. But this doesn't mean that we don't feel them as deeply, if not more deeply, than you do. So if you like this video and want more on autism and neurodiversity, then I have a whole playlist right here. See you next time.